the story coming into this 2020 NBA season was what duo in the NBA was going to lead their team to the finals. We had the Battle of LA between LeBron and Anthony Davis versus Paul George and Kawhi. We were wondering what duo in the East was going to come out and challenge, really, possibly even either of those teams from LA, whether you look at Ben Simmons and Embiid, Giannis and Chris Middleton, or even Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam and Jason Tatum and Kemba Walker. And then you had a lot of other duos who we weren't really sure what they were going to be able to do, but we had high hopes for them, like Dame and CJ in Portland, or Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert in Utah, and other teams like that. But I think a duo that really didn't get enough attention throughout both the offseason and throughout this season in general was Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic in Dallas. Luka Doncic was beginning his second season as an NBA professional, and a lot of people did see that he was going to take probably a next step in his development, but I don't know if a lot of people saw an MVP caliber season from him, averaging about 28 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists. Then when you look at Kristaps Porzingis, he's coming off of a torn ACL that we've never really seen a 7'3" guy come back from, especially when you look at Kristaps was able to play above the rim very well. He was an elite shot blocker. So a lot of people saw that his athleticism was going to decline and his play in general would decline. But since the All-Star break, and his season in general, it's not perfect. He's averaged about 20 points and about 9 rebounds. But since the All-Star break, he's averaged about 27 points, 11 rebounds. And he's become that second guy that him matched with Luka, they are, in my opinion, an elite duo. For comparison, I decided to look at 8 other duos around the league. And I'm going to put that picture up on the screen for you now. I do want to say I did not put Paul George and Kawhi Leonard in this graphic because they've only played like 24, 25 games together. So you can't really, I wouldn't really call them a duo compared to what, Luka and Kristaps or any of these other duos I have on the screen. I wouldn't really call them a duo compared to everyone else on this graphic. However, you can see that even though that Luka and Kristaps don't have the production that you would see from two guys like James Harden and Russell Westbrook, or maybe even guys like AD and LeBron, but they still are, they're still up there in terms of their production. They average about 48 points, 19 rebounds, and 10 assists per game between those two, which is better than a lot of the duos that you look around the NBA at. And they're kind of a perfect duo for this current NBA because we've seen the elite guard duo. It hasn't really worked out for a lot of teams like the Trailblazers. And even though the Rockets are a top 4 seed right now, they're not looking like a team that could dethrone the Lakers or the Clippers for a top spot in the West. But the Dallas Mavericks with Kristaps and Luka Doncic have a sort of their tandem looks like it could beat a team like LA, either the LA teams or even Denver. Combine the elite duo that Kristaps and Luka form with the fact that the Dallas Mavericks have the 4th best road record in the entire NBA, and you've got a recipe for a team that could really challenge a lot of the elite teams in the West, like the Lakers, like the Clippers, like the Nuggets. On the road, Kristaps and Luka have been nothing short of what they average. I mean, Kristaps has averages about 19 points and 10 rebounds, and Luka averages about 28, 9, and 9. So, as far as that goes, they have outperformed, or they pretty much perform up to par with what they usually do. And then when you look at one other factor when you're looking at playoffs, I believe at least, is what these guys are able to do on only one day of rest. And Kristaps, when at the beginning of the season, I think a lot of people questioned whether Kristaps was going to be able to play the longevity of this NBA season, but he's, I believe, at least outperformed expectations. On one day of rest, he puts up about 21 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists, and then Luka puts up about 29 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists as well. So both of those guys are able to both play on the road very well and perform well when they're only given a day of rest, which to me is super important because when you're in a playoff series and you're playing every other day, you've got to be able to. You can't have a game where you just take that game off like you could in the regular season. I'm not saying you can take a game off in the regular season, but you don't have that much leeway like you do in the regular season. And the fact that those two are able to perform up to expectations and even have the ability to outperform those expectations makes it a lot easier on their role players. Guys like Seth Curry or Tim Hardaway Jr. or Maxi Kleba. Guys like that who are role players are able to stick to just playing their role and not have to step up in the bigger moments. They'll need to step up at certain points, but they won't have to fill the shoes of Luka or fill the shoes of Kristaps because they'll just be able to focus on doing their main thing. Speaking of the role players for the Dallas Mavericks, they have guys. The role players are both a positive and a negative for the Mavericks. When you look at their backcourt role players, you got guys like Curry, Seth Curry, and Tim Hardaway Jr. And even when he comes back, you'll have Jalen Brunson and DeLon Wright in the backcourt. But they don't really have another front court piece that comes in. They have Maxi Kleba, who is more of just a stretch four and somewhat a decent defender. He comes in and plays a decent amount of minutes with the starters as well, but they don't really have another backup center. They have Willie Cauley-Stein, who they picked up a few weeks ago, and they have Boban Marjanovic, but neither of those guys have really played a lot of minutes. I mean, Willie Cauley-Stein plays about less than 13 minutes a game, and Boban plays less than 9 minutes a game. So I don't really know what what Rick Carlisle and the rest of the coaching staff for Dallas is going to be trying to do when it comes to that. But in terms of their backcourt, they've got a lot of pieces that can come in and space the floor for Luka and Kristaps. But again, their front court is not super great, especially with the fact that Dwight Powell went down for the season. So they don't have a lot of pieces there, but I don't know if it's something that will absolutely kill them come playoff time. The other thing that's worth mentioning for the Mavericks that is somewhat scares me about the Mavericks going into the playoffs is their record against other teams that currently are in the playoffs. I'm going to put up another graphic showing those stats for them. And when I put up this graphic, I'm just going to use the Grizzlies as the 8th seed because they're the team that's held on to it for the longest. Right now, they're 6-11 against other Western Conference playoff teams, which, as you can see, it's not good compared to the other 7 teams. But there is a chance that they could right that statistic. They still have a lot of games to go. There's about 20 games left in the season. And, even with that number is kind of skewed because when you look at their schedule, when they play other Western Conference teams, they're 4-4 on the road in these games. So that just backs up the point of them being really good on the road. They're 4-4, which it's 50%. And compared to the other teams in the NBA, I don't have a graphic for this, but this is just what I have written down. There's only 2 teams that have a better win percentage on the road against Western Conference playoff teams. That's the LA Clippers and the LA Lakers. Every other team is about 50% or below. So, it's kind of scary to me, the fact that they're 6-11, only 35% against Western Conference teams, but it's really at home that they're having the problems, which take that however you want. I believe that they actually lead the league in attendance. So I don't know. That's a weird statistic to me. So if they're 4-4 on the road, that means they're 2-7 at home against Western Conference teams. Or Western Conference playoff teams. So again, they could possibly right that ship by the end of the season, but more than likely they'll end up with a losing record against Western Conference playoff teams. So that's one other thing that somewhat scares me about the Mavericks. But yeah, other than that, guys, that's going to be the video for me. If you are a Mavericks fan and there's anything else that you think I missed when talking in this video, go ahead and write a comment down below. And if you like these videos from me, make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe if you want to see more videos from me. I try to put out as much NBA and NFL related content as possible. So yeah, that's going to be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. And if you disliked the video, make sure you hit the dislike button. Any feedback at this point is much appreciated. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. See you later.